And what I suggest about the groups, because I know, sorry. You were going to say something?
What or do you want first to read it? I don't know.
I think we'll see where the time goes, but it turns out that these meetings seem to be very long, okay, which is good, you know, sometimes they're good, but we're going to have to be a little bit more on purpose in the meetings themselves. So anyone who's working in the groups, if we have time at the end of the meeting, gladly, great. But if we don't have time, it'd be really good to just write out the concept, present it, maybe do a video as a team and present it, but to do it virtually so we can use, because every 2 weeks is not a lot of time.
I think,
Simona?
Can I just make a point here?
Sure.
That I thought the whole idea of people going off and working into groups is going off, sorry, you can't hear me, going off and working in groups and bringing things back to the main group for agreement. And that, I would have said, is what these meetings are about us going off, preparing something, and then coming back into the group and agreeing it. Because if we go off and prepare something, post it, some people are going to say something, some people are not. It's just not, it's not clear. And so I'm not sure that is going to work. The other thing, I mean, I'll wait until everybody else has spoken, because it's to do with these meetings. But for me, the whole idea is that the groups go off and then they come back and they we feed back to the main group in these meetings. Otherwise, I'm not sure what it is that we're doing in these meetings, aside from the work that we're doing.
Thank you for that, Taiwo. I'm just going to give a little point of view from my side, and then we can work it out, because that's what we're here in this meeting for. Today's meeting has an agenda. You know, we have an hour and a half to work on the agenda of, you know, finding the mission. There was a lot of questions coming up. Are we on mission? What is the mission? How are we working? And we decided that this meeting, we would do that. So I'd like to dedicate this meeting to that. If there's time, absolutely can go on all the groups. Also the survey group, they have a survey that they want to present to the whole forum.
Okay, so I misunderstood what you were saying then, Mindy. Sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you were saying that was the format of the meetings, that the groups would feed back if there was ever time at the end. I misunderstood. So you're saying for this meeting, we're going to focus on the mission, and then, so that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, that was the agenda. And if there's time to work in the groups, that's good. If there's not time, instead of waiting another 2 weeks to be active, to do something, then you can present it to the group in a virtual format. You know, write about it or put out a video.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's just that I misunderstood what you were saying about this, about meetings in general. I thought you were talking about meetings in general, not about this meeting in particular. Okay. So that's fine. Sure.
Okay.
Mindy,
thank you.
Can I say an idea that maybe will works better for the meetings, and is the way that we work with Blair, okay? I think the best will be, not for this meeting, but for the maybe next meetings, is that every group bring something to say, like update, maybe have in Google Drive or something like a format of what is the people working on which project, and just have 5 minutes each one or 10 minutes each group to say, okay, this is what I've been working with. I need the approval of all of you guys. I just received this. If not, it's done. I need this. I will post this. And every one of us in the group can share what we're doing. We put it, we're discussing next group. You know, that way, everybody knows about everybody. Everybody can vote about everybody. Everybody can add or no add or whatever. And everybody has a chance to talk. And then at the end, we can just open 10 minutes to discuss any other things. I think this will be much, much better, because otherwise, if we don't talk something that is important on this meeting, we miss it and it's 2 more weeks. So this is just something, suggestion. Maybe right now, let's go to talk to mission and then talk about for the rest. But the next meetings, this is something that I think will be works better.
Excellent. Great suggestion. Who likes that suggestion? Okay, wonderful. Okay, great. Thank you, Claudia. Okay, so let's talk about mission. Let's talk about life, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Simona, you brought it up first that you had posted something. So why don't you share with us what your thoughts are? What came up for you?
If you want, I can share my screen if it's possible, so you also read with me maybe it's easier and quicker. that's okay. I don't know if it's this one. Yeah. So yeah, one point was about having more clarity in the direction. And one thing that I find that is very useful is also to talk more in depth of what we mean by the values we have. Because one thing is that I found out is that we went very straight to what it means for us in BSTA, which is it's Blair who is leading BSTA. So we are more agreeing to what's in BSTA, which is a different situation, I think, from us, who we joined together to create something which is for sure has a root, I would say, in there. And so to put together again the way of creating the rules that we created, but going more deep in what it means for us and have more a sort of discussion on each point of view, because that would allow us to go deeper in our relationship and go deeper on really what it means for us and connect better, because we may find out that we have our ideas we still haven't shared, and which could be a good idea, maybe not so much for the outcome we want to have, but at least it's expressed and we can learn about each other. So that's an idea, to have a discussion around values, the meaning, because I think that what came out also from Jane's, at the end it was about the meaning of some words. And it's so important. So just to follow the processes that we normally use it also on us. As we were, you know, when you coach somebody else, that's the work you do for them. So do it for ourselves. That was a little bit the idea I'm sharing here, because one thing is important for me is also to understand, are we going out as a brand ourselves? So we are one brand together, or is it just a platform where everybody of us, each one of us is a brand, is her own brand? So this makes a difference in the outcome from my point of view. But this is my point of view I'm expressing, so then just open discussion. And then create a per chat. That's again part of the processes we use to teach our clients. So do a per chat, which an inspiration is the map you did, Mindy, which was more on the management side. So it's more about I would say, you know, how to separate the groups and everything. But the missing part is more to give and go to a direction. So more a per chat, which gives us the steps, and which can be, could be that new steps open up the more we go, because but at least we have a direction and we can maybe think, and everybody can add some pieces to it if they have ideas, and then we share and also because everybody is very busy, so it would give us more an idea of how much time we have to put in it, because I mean, our lives go on, families, businesses, and everything, so that it gives more to us an idea of how much we need to put in for this project, which I think is an important part. And also money in the future, because I mean, every business will need some time to have an investment, but then things get more clear. And even if we don't know now the answer, they will come. Yeah, the other thing is also, for the people who want, could be also to, in a way, share the facilitation of the group, so that it doesn't follow all the time on Mindy in this situation, and maybe someone wants to experience. It's a way also maybe to experience the sharing and facilitation of the group. This is another possibility I'm open to. And then from there we go in more details. And so then it comes to having a more clear idea who are we talking to, who is our avatar, and go through all the process of finding out our avatar. Eventually, also after the survey that we send out, which will give us some more information about the people who have been registered up to now. and use it, but also define if it's really the avatar we want to have, and so who is our public, define it better. It will give us much more ideas also. And then this is, so we want to empower women to be women, but here I put women, I don't want to go in the discussion again of men and women, it's everybody, because men support also the women, so it's for everybody. To become better leaders in the family business communities, but go more specific on maybe how, which are so what are the contexts, what can come out from here. And again, the point of the branding, because so is it a platform presenting different speakers, each one a product, or is it something together? Then because this is very important, I think it gives completely two different aspects of what we are doing. Also in the view of go to promoter, because if we go as a group or we go as a personal brand. And then also if we have a common thread, so link better the topics we are doing and give it more a meaning to what we do, so that one rolls into the other maybe, or we can think about, I mean, that's just something that comes up to me now. And again, are we offering a unique product, which in this case could be a live event? But what happens then at the back end? We need to know, because that's the first thing that a promoter will ask us also. And he's the third party in, which will get also it has to be profitable for them. So same thing that today, the asset that we have created up to now, it's these 600 registrants, plus the people who are in the Facebook group. So I see them as an asset. Now the survey is going to be out, so to know more about them, and that how are we going to serve these people better and grow this group. Also because only 60 people came from the registration, which is a 10%, and then understand what happened to the rest. And this is going to be from the survey. So that's a little bit some ideas I put down, and I'm open, just a way to discuss more, to go further in depth from here.
Okay. Simona, can I ask something?
Yes.
I think you brought up a lot of really valid points, and we can go through them one at a time, and we should go through them one at a time, because they're really very valid and they need to be addressed. But I'm going to ask you one more thing. When you look at us as a team of women, trainers, leaders, what in your opinion, to your feeling, is our big mission? These things are here. A lot of these things are tactical and short and give clarity, or maybe a little strategic. When you talk about the big, huge picture, what for you is the big picture of this group?
For myself, so what we have in common is for sure the same language, I would say. We in a way we speak the same language, even though it's not easy. As we saw, we had some difficulties as everybody, because communication is the hardest part for anyone on this earth. But that's the real and true example, I think. And that's why on my personal thought, I see ourselves more as one team, not many teams going, or not each one of us going for her own. So I don't see it really as a platform myself, but I see it as a group of women who really show up out there doing what they are saying to the others to do, and so really teach on how to communicate in the smaller communities, whichever they are. We will find out what they are, these communities. But So giving some tools, but also giving the example on how we do it, and that it's really working in between us. So create a common language, I would say. So the mission is really to, it's true, it's to teach. Why? Because I think that's what, if you consider the diversity, which comes from the gender, first of all, but it's not only a question of gender, could be a question of color, could be a question of culture, could be a question of religion. And so really, the mission for me is more to create a unity between man and woman, first of all. That's how I see it. And so having the women coming out more from their places and take more courage to get out of where they are, and for the men to really understand and support them in coming out, creating a safe space where they really can express themselves and allow also men to express, because sometimes also men are in a bad situation, I would say, but creating a context, the context.
Well, if I'm hearing the things, if I can summarize, just tell me if I missed something, okay? Or if I didn't say it right. You say, one team with a common language. We're a group of people who walk the talk, we live it. So we are a living example of how other people can act to form this unity of different and diverse cultures and personalities. And by showing that unity, that's how we can, by example, empower both women and men.
Yes, and support each other, because at the end it's creating the space for everybody to grow, because it's adult teaching at the same time to the new generations. So creating the safe environment in all aspects. Then we will define together what is the context we really want and the people we are relating to. Is it business people? Is it everybody? I mean, this is to discuss, but that's the principle, I would say.
Beautiful, beautiful. How many of you are moved by the mission that Simona just outlined here? How many think that that's a good base to start developing a nice mission for us all? Yeah, good. Thank you, Simona. I'm gonna suggest, maybe you have a better idea, that we let also Stephanie and Claudia bring up the points that they were thinking about also, and then we can all take opportunity to address the things that came up for us and what you guys are bringing up. Is that okay? Yeah, because they prepared. So we're listening, Simona, and we're gonna address it all, but let's just see what other ideas come up, okay?
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Beautiful, beautiful, very detailed, and thank you for taking the effort to write it out in a real clear fashion and putting it up. Thank you. Give it up again for Simona. Brava. Okay, Claudia, you also prepared something, right?
Yeah, you put a document there and I just write under your document or something like that. But what I just want to share with you girls is, I think, well, the mission, we will build it between all of us, but also where is the vision, as Mindy mentioned, because for me, it's not just a platform that we can be together and we just show Blair or show the world that woman, we can speak in public and we are also very successful. I see more than that. I talk this with Blair and say, Blair, for me, the vision I see is that we create the best speakers on the world. And if you are a speaker, you come on board and you learn with us, from us, and participate on that. I have been looking around, I check, and it's some international already speaker associations, but maybe we can just check all of them, what is missing, and maybe we can offer something different to the world, okay? But my point of view is that everybody, or maybe just will be with the BSTM team, but how to create the best speakers on the world. It's not just what we are doing right now. I wanted to put it more like in the future, what we can do for others and how big we want to make this. For me, I saw that it's not just working for us, but how can we work for others, or how can we do this much bigger? Okay, so this is one of my vision that I have, and a part of that, I think it's really important that for any one of us we have very clear mission, vision, the values, and what we are doing, what we're doing, and then we can maybe have a specific roles. And once this is clear, I think everybody will be more clear on what we do and everything. Other thing that I saw is we create this group and we rushing a little bit to get videos and everything, but was okay because this create momentum. But as well, we start to growing up, and because we don't have a good foundations or good cement or base, that's why we are having all of this. So suddenly we create a Facebook group, but then we don't have any rules. And then we create this website as well, no website, but the other Facebook. And then we don't know what to post in each one. And then we create this other one. And some people is confused. Some people doesn't know how to do, and it's okay. But we are, that's why we are building systems, building the columns, building everything to be okay. So I just will suggest to some of you to be patient, because I know that some of you are very structured and systems and want to have everything perfect, but also you think on mind that we have been doing the things in the best possibilities that we can do it. And all of us, we try to participate as much as we can and give the 100% effort. And if some of times you will not do it, understanding because you have been doing, supporting Blair Singer, supporting BSDS, or doing your own things, and it's okay, okay? And this is one of the things that I think Blair talked to us the other day, right? That you don't need to participate in everything, you don't need to be 100% of the time, so it's okay. And that's why we are a group that we need to support each other, and we need to listen each other, but without going like, I mean, if something is not good or you feel it is not good, just address it. And that's why it's good to have everybody all of us talk in a certain time, so we can say it, we can address, we can work on that, and then keep moving. Because remember, working as a team is a huge, a big thing. And every one of us, we think, every one of us, little boys, every one of us, we are leaders, every one of us, and it's not easier. And I just saying this because in the past I worked with coaches as well, okay? But the success is to listen each other, to have a patience, and just to build what we need to build to get the base done. So this is the things, and Mindy, you share whatever I write into your column, because I just take it, Mindy document, and I just fill it in, okay? And I don't remember. So this is what I share with you guys. That's it.
Thank you, Claudia. So I think you gave a lot of real good tips on how we can work together. I think it's really important what you said about being patient and listening, and we're building something, and sometimes things aren't clear, and then we have to work to make them clear, because it's hard to work without clarity. And I appreciate that so much, that input, because it brings us back to a place where, you know, maybe we can breathe a little bit easier, even though we're doing, but breathe a little bit easier and go at a pace that is comfortable for everyone. And some people are moving forward and some people are resting, and then they're moving forward and someone is resting. But I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Simona. You know, okay, yeah, you have a vision of, in the future, we can be this organization that supports women speakers, which is a really grand and big idea. I think it's really great. We could possibly get there. But what do you think the mission for you? What is the mission for us working, women we're leading into the future? We started, you know, 6 months, not even 6 months ago. What's the mission now?
Well, for me, the mission will be like, first, to be the best speakers in the world, and with with us being the best speakers, inspire, supporting, changing other people's life, and at the same time support other speakers that want us to support them. This will be my mission, like to be the best speakers and changing people's lives. This is for me what I saw.
Beautiful. How many of you want to be the best speakers in the world? Yeah. How many of you want to support other women to become the best speakers that they can be? Yeah. Okay. How many of you want to transform lives by speaking? Beautiful. I mean, if there's anything that we can all agree on, I think that is that's beautiful. That's what we want to do. So great, Claudia. Thank you. And again, we can address those things and a little bit on the disorganization and being patient and how we work in teams together. Thank you. Now, Pao, you had a question specific to this because Stephanie also has some things that she prepared.
Yeah, I know. I just want to point out something. What I really want to listen to Stephanie too, because I found maybe it will help our entire thing. Because I feel like everything we do is so broad. It's like women leading into the future. Because I have this conversation with Miranda, it's like so broad. And why don't we just tighten up the context, tighten them? So one thing that it just pops out, and then I want to listen to Stephanie. It's just bear in mind right now is like the one questions, do we going as a group or personal brand? That I think we need to decide of that. But from, and then another thing is, if we narrow down the mission, something like, if like the mission is empowering women to speak out, to step out and lead and to be a world-class speaker, it will be much more nailed down that I know what we are doing than broad. I just want to point out, we got to really nail down. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Thank you. I think, yeah, I agree. Also, narrow mission is important. Who thinks we need to tighten it up, tighten up the context? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Pao, for that interjection. Okay, Stephanie, you're up, baby.
Thanks. I had a whole bunch of tactical stuff, so I don't want to get into that. I want to stay on the topic in terms of mission. I guess the thing that stood out for me the most was we really need, and I guess it's along the same lines as what Powers just said, but we really need to clarify who we are serving.
Who we are what?
Because I think we serving. Sorry, can you hear me?
Now I can, yeah. Clarify who we are serving. That's what I heard.
Because I think, correct, yes. Because I think we all know who we are serving with our own brands, but together as a group, as women leading into the future, who are we serving? And the outcome of serving them may mean we're online, we're on stage, you know, we're doing all those things that we want to do to further ourselves, which is great because there should be that exchange about what we're doing to grow ourselves as well as helping others, but being really clear about who we are serving. And I think we had a few discussions about that before we started, and we got broader and broader, and we're serving and helping everybody. And I think that is probably then made it harder from, and now we get into tactics, but from a marketing, from a messaging, from an understanding our roles, from an understanding what are we doing moving forward, by having such a broad context or group that we're serving, makes it, you know, more difficult or more challenging to be clear about, you know, what we're doing here. So I think for me, the biggest thing is to narrow down and be very clear that, one, we're doing it as a group, not individual brands, is what I guess I thought it was, and two, who is it that we're serving?
Great. I think that's very in alignment with what Pao was just saying now. You know, you need to have tightening up the context. You need to know what we're saying and who we're saying it to. Those are the two things coming up. Great. Thank you. Karen, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, thanks. And thanks to everybody for the feedback. And yeah, I guess when we talk about mission and who it is that we're serving, I thought that when we started all this, that we knew that. And I'm just going to go back to what we'd already talked about, because that's kind of like where my mindset has been, and everything's going to evolve, and I get that. So it's really good to hear everybody's feedback is that it was all of us as a group coming together, us as women, so that we can be on bigger stages, as Blair had said. So that was kind of our own personal thing. But then who it is that our target market was and our mission to the public, let's say, I thought was, because Stephanie, when I read what you wrote in the WhatsApp group, I was like, oh my God, she nailed it, which was helping women lead their lives, lead their businesses, lead their families, lead all of that. So that's what I thought our mission was. Now, to Simona's point, Simona, I love the fact that, yeah, I think it's really important that we unify as women and we all have this safe environment, and that we all, you know, how we're all evolving, working together, I think is just awesome, because there's many women that can't work together. We all know this, right? I mean, that's why women a lot of times will choose to work with men, because there's not as much emotion involved. There's not as much drama involved. I mean, how many people realize that? Yeah. Yeah, I know. And so it's like, how can we all make this work? This is kind of like, you know, and it's easier with smaller groups than it is with bigger groups. And I mean, hats off to you, Mindy. It was wide open. Okay, everybody, let's go, you know. But so I guess I would go back to, if we could walk away with anything from today, is really what happened to that mission? Has that mission changed? And if it has, yeah, who is that target market and how do we best serve them? That's what I would really love to see evolve from today's call.
Great. Thank you so much, Karen. Annie.
Okay, I think out of everybody in this group, I'm the one that's probably confused the most. There's a lot of, you guys at the beginning were talking a lot about documents, and I have no idea what documents. So I'm not going to even go there right now. However, I have a question. How many of you in here, except me, have a system of discovering this avatar other than Mindy? Okay. All right. So that's the thing, is that I don't have a system. The system that I used is Mindy's. And I think if somebody has a system that can discover this avatar, let's just use that system, because we can go around and talk about it. And like, I'm with Simona because I cater for both. And I can't connect just to women. It's just, I just don't have that drive that some women do, that they all for the women. And I get that, and no issue with it, but I cater for both. And my ideal client are men. So I'm in a little bit of a quandary here. I can't connect. So could we use somebody's system that has the questions, and we start putting information in their age groups and all that kind of stuff, and see what we come up with, and then we can define our target market. Because our title, Women Leading into the Future, kind of, to me when I hear that, is like, it's women for women. That's it. But based, I don't know, I didn't really look at the list, at the 600 names, but there's men in there. So why did these men join? So clearly this is where the survey, I guess, comes in, I presume. But I'm thinking, yes, I think it's a great idea to find our avatar so we have clarity where we're going. And whoever has a system, let's just use it. That's all.
Great, Annie. Systems are great. That's great. It's nice that we have them. And then here, I guess we have a variety of systems we can use to check out who our avatar is. I think that before we get to the avatar, we have to be really clear on the mission first to hold us together, and then we can go step down into the avatar. It's just like what we did together, Annie. First, you decided what you wanted to do before you decide who you want to talk to. And it's something that came up in the last session also that was a question I think that Simona and Stephanie had worked out together. The question is, do we go with the avatar that we have, therefore we're doing the survey of the 600 to see who they are, and maybe that can be an avatar, or we decide who do we want, because we can go in both directions and say who for us is the best person, who we're looking for, and then choose it. So I will definitely do it, because that needs the clarity. We all agree that we need to tighten the context. But for
I actually agree to what you just said now, is that we did have 650 people sign up. Who are they? Let's figure out who they are rather than trying to find other people. Let's look at who are these people that follow this? Where did they come from?
Yeah.
How old are they?
And we have Claudia, Stephanie, and Simona. They worked on a really nice survey that we're going to send out to those 600 plus people to see who they are. And then we can decide, do we want that? Do we want something else? Are there other issues that are important for us? But again, we got to come back to the mission. So Annie, for you, what's the mission of Women Leading into the Future? The big picture.
I was just thinking about that, and I went back to think, how did we start all of this? And we started all of this because Blair said we need more women speakers. So it's just, to me, it's like bringing a different essence to the world of speaking, because we come from a different space. We are more nurturing, so we might just bring another balance to the world. But ultimately, it's the same thing, I think, for all of us, is to change to help people change their lives and lead a better quality of life. So in whatever we're doing, I believe that's our mission overall, is to help people. How? Well, we figure it out, with the webinars and whatnot. But ultimately, it's the same thing. I don't have another different mission.
Yeah.
That the whole thing is to change, to help, to get people to lead better lives, to have tools, to arm them in their toolbox with lots and lots of tools that they can use. When the shit hits the fan, they can what's the word? Fall back on some really powerful tools.
Yeah.
That they can use, because we've used them all. So, and I think we've all changed our lives ourselves.
Yeah.
So what we know is what we gift them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I think that's really great. Thank you, Annie.
That's pretty much it.
Thank you. And we're here. Have gifts to transform the world, and that's a big thing. Not everyone has gifts, or not everyone knows what their gifts are and want to, share them with everyone else. That's a great place to be. Taiwo, yes.
Yeah, I'm just going to go back to.
Can you talk closer into your microphone, or?
I'm just going to go back to, I think it was what Karen was saying about the original thing that Stephanie had posted in the group, and I think my understanding was that was slightly amended to say creating people, and for me, this group is about creating leaders, whether they're men or women, and it's not about their gender, it's about the energy of that the person brings, and the fact that we are women, that we can help people to become leaders in our own way with just a different kind of energy, because there's an assumption that because you're a woman you can't lead, or because you're a man you can lead, and it's got nothing to do with that. It's about, like Annie said, the tools and skills that we have, the values that you hold, what leadership means, to people, and leadership can mean different things to different people depending on the kind of energy that they put behind it. So a woman can be a leader but have a very male energy, and so be leading like a man, or think that they have to lead like a man, or a man may think that he has to lead like, you know, he may feel like his feminine energy has no place in leadership. And so for me, that it's about using our skills and using our different backgrounds to enable people to become better leaders in their own lives. It doesn't have to be about being on stage. I think the thing about creating women speakers is great, but I think that that's splitting the focus at this stage of that it's about creating leaders, and leaders are not just people who are on stage. They are, we are going to try and give ourselves a bigger platform, but to reach people, to show them how they can be leaders in their lives, in their work lives, in their home lives, in their communities. And so that for me is the mission of this group, or my personal kind of agenda behind the mission of this group.
Beautiful, Taiwo. It is. I
like that.
Yeah, creating leaders. That's what we're here. We are leaders creating leaders. And we are feminine leaders, female leaders, creating leaders of all sexes, types, statuses, cultures. That's beautiful, Taiwo. I think that's really great. Thank you. Pao.
Okay, so a few points. So now I actually can know that I think I have a conversation with Simona. We actually hold very different viewpoint to our missions right now. So now we have different versions to look at the missions, right? So we are not coming into unity yet. And another thing so what Ty will say is we are from a women perspective coming together to create leaders. So that's one thing. But according to our mission, women leading in their life, it could be another interpretation, which is to help women to step out, to be a leader and leading their life, So it's actually different. And that's why I think we gotta make it clear. And another point, what happening, I feel, and also at the conversation with Simona, we actually have our own avatar. We each have our own avatar, like Annie have your male avatar, right? You have our own avatar. That's fine, right? We can do it like our own business. And we also serving BSTA, which BSTA have BSTA mission. Yeah, creating world-class speaking leaders. My question to this group is, why are we get together? And what is the mission for this group? Maybe have nothing to do with my own avatar, or maybe it overlap a little bit. Or for example, if Annie, you serve men, but if this group, the missions, it's not, it's women dominant, it's just for this group. It's just an example I want to put it. So I feel like I need to get very clear, what is this group for? And we gotta get only one interpretation of the mission, because and according to everybody, I feel we are going to be one group, one team, one language, one avatar, and one mission. I think that's the challenge.
Bravo, Pao. Yeah, bravo.
Man.
We're a team, and that's all the things that you say with a team. One group, one avatar, one mission, one language, one person, one purpose.
And for example, if like in an event, if the person go to Simona, ask what's your mission, how can you help me, or go to Mindy, it could be it kind of very unity. Yeah.
Beautiful, thank you. It sounds like they're all different, but it's all the same. We're all saying the same thing, sometimes in a little bit of a different language. We're all saying the same thing, pretty much, with a little bit of questions that do need to be clarified. But we're come together as a team with certain values, that we have to create and clarify maybe the values, but we have already, because we come out of BSTA, we already have known values pretty much, that we can specify them a little bit more. Just one second, Taiwo. But you know, we have to come into clarity and see how we work as a team. And it doesn't mean that we're only the team and not also individuals. But when we are the team, we are the team. We are one. Just like when we're in BSTA, we are BSTA, we are one. You know, and then you'll go out and you go home in your own markets and you have your own businesses, and that's also very cool. But it needs to be very clear what language we're speaking at every stage and what we're going to do. And I have a lot of things that I want to, you know, share with you as well. And yeah, so maybe that'll help pull us all together a little bit. Taiwo, you wanted to add something?
I think that if I were to use Stephanie's feedback model, I would say that one of the things that we have to start doing is start questioning and stop making assumptions, because I think that there is an assumption that just because we are all BSTA, that all the values mean exactly the same thing to each person. And I think that we have to be very, very careful with that. First of all, we're from different cultures, different backgrounds and all sorts of things. And we just need to be very, very clear that what we say that we mean, that everybody is meaning the same thing. I mean, you've heard just how we've got like so many different diverse ideas of what the mission of the group is, but that is symptomatic of the fact that we're coming from different places. And I think that we have to be very, very, we're skating on thin ice if we allow ourselves to continue assuming that just because we're all BSTA, we are all of the same mind, because I don't think that that's true.
I would like to ask a question in relation to the BSTA values. Now, I either missed it. Do we know what the BSTA values are? Because we know the code of honor, but what are the values of the BSTA? Because the only one that I know is responsibility, but I don't know the rest. So we keep talking about values, but what are the values of the BSTA?
Okay. I think that's a good question, Annie, but I don't know if this is the forum to be talking about it. We do know what the code of honor is, and we've all signed off to the code of honor. And you know, even now, I'm interviewing people to join BSTA. I'm reading 5 times a day the code of honor of BSTA to people and discussing it. So I think that as a team here, if we are not all 100% signed up and talking the same language with the code of honor, then there's a problem.
I get that, but I heard the word values. I heard the word values go on and on and on around in this meeting. So why are we using the word values if it's not something that we're going to talk about? And I don't need to talk about it today because it's been an hour already, so that's fine. It's purely a question because everybody says the values, and we are not, even though we train BSTA, like we need to create our own code of honor, but that's got to be based on a value. So what value are we bringing individually in? And this is exactly what we learned in a team environment. If you go into a corporate environment, you look at everybody's individual values, and then you create the values of the company or see if you're in line with the values of the company.
Excellent. That's what Simona brought up at the beginning, Annie.
That's right. So the reason I asked, because the thing is, I keep hearing BSTA values, but nobody knows the BSTA values. So yes, a code of honor is built on a set of values. So what are the BSTA values? Okay. So we don't need to discuss this any further, but I would say it's a pretty good question. Yeah. So then we need to create the values, because to me, this is not BSTA. We are BSTA trained, but this is not BSTA. Yes, Blair knows what we're doing and all of that, and he's willing to assist if we need it, but I don't want this to be BSTA. This is us, right? Which means we need to bring our values and create the values for this, our company. This is our company. Before, I know it's not registered, but this is our company.
That's the point I was trying to make, Annie, in that is that we can make the assumption that because we are all from BSTA, we share the same values. That's the point I was trying to make. That it's not about it whether it's BSTA values or not. It's just that the assumption is that responsibility means exactly the same thing to all of us. Integrity means exactly the same thing to all of us. Whatever the value is, there's an assumption that just because we all come from BSTA, it means the same thing. And I'm just saying, we just need to check that and make sure whatever values we have, whether Blair shares them or not, that we have the same understanding of what those values mean. So forget about BSTA. It's about having a shared understanding of the values that this group has.
Beautiful, ladies. I think that's a great idea. And who wants to volunteer in the next call to do a session dedicated to values and creating the values? Simona, wonderful. Wonderful. Did you also raise your hand, Annie?
Oh, look, I like doing values, but I just don't know the way I do it, whether it works. So
do you want to work in a team with Simona?
Sure. If Simona wants to, yeah. I feel like I'd be contributing because I don't really contribute at the moment other than doing posts, which is great because I like doing posts.
Okay, so you guys, for the next call, can you guys do a session on values and we'll clarify our values? I think that'd be wonderful. Good place to start. Thank you so much. Okay, Simona.
I just did one with a group of people from TTT. And they loved it. So.
Okay. A lot of good points are coming up here. I'm just going to be cautious of the time. We're not going to go over the hour and a half. We're going to try to stick with that. My 2 cents on this, on mission, and a little bit of history and some things that I've spoken to other people, here in the group about what I think. And I might get a little bit emotional. When we started this project together, the idea came out of there not being enough women on big stages. So we came together with this idea of, there's power in numbers, especially in my opinion with women. Women work really good in groups, and they could let this group power together that can actually push them forward to do much greater things than they can do by themselves. So the idea of coming along as a group initially started as, with a group, we would have more chance to get ourselves on stage, okay? And we decided that we were gonna go on stage as a group, maybe also as individuals to promote the group, but to, like Simona, like you said, to walk the talk. Let's show other women out there that there is a way for women to get on stage and teach and transform lives. So if you say that there's I see it as a twofold mission. One, as a mission to really find the secret, the tool, the way, the system. If we can develop as a group a system that works to get women, first us as an example, test the model on us, and then other women on stage to be able to transform lives, I see that as the big picture. That's the big thing. We want to get women on stage. We want to get us on stage, and we want to help women in general get out there and start transforming lives. And in that, I think we made a little bit of progress. Because we don't have a lot of time in these calls, there's not, and that is something that needs to be shared. But one of the things that I've learned by going on and talking about what we're doing and talking about with promoters and with Romy and with all sorts of people about what's going on, the secret that no one is telling us in BSTA is that the reason why women aren't on stage is because women don't know how to sell. Bottom line is that they cannot sell the back end. So when a promoter sells a women's program, they have to get a big name because they need to make money on the front end. Okay, and that's why they're not turning to women so much. And that's why they're not promoting women, because it's a business. Even Veronica, who loves women and wants to support women, she can't get a group of women to be able to sell in the back end. Here's where we come in, BSTA. Okay? because no one has ever done a program with the BSTA women that actually know how to sell. And we have a formula, we have a method, we have a system. So I'm thinking now, if we can use with whatever content we're going to create, and I agree with you that the content yet isn't clear, and how we're going to develop that content isn't yet clear, although I have some ideas on that also through discussions, nothing that I've invented myself, but by talking to you guys and talking to the promoters out there to see what we can do is what we need to do. The method that I'm thinking, and Linda and Hannah are also working on their team with developing a program, is if we can come up with a transformational program, our style, Blair style, BSDA style, transforms lives, where it's based on leadership, because that's what we heard to create. We created a mission. And that's what I agree with Karen on that. We created a mission. And Taiwo, you said the same thing, to transform lives, to create leaders at home, in business, and in the community. And I think that's a really great mission. So Hannah's working on a program that we can all use our own type of content in a program, whether it be a 2-day program or a 3-day program, or even a 5-day program. We are delivering the things, what we believe in as individual trainers, in a unified program that's transformational, that's procedure, there's a process that they go through, and we use our skills for selling by the techniques that we've learned, then we will be able to actually be on a stage, have a transformational workshop, and sell in the back end. Which of course, I mean, someone said it here, we need to know what we're selling in the back end, but that'll be more clear when we know who our avatar is and what kind of content. But we can actually make a program as a group of individuals, make a one unified program that speaks to those people who want to become leaders, whether it be men or females. They want to become leaders at home, in their community, or in their business. A leadership, or teaching leadership through relationships, leadership through money, leadership through spirituality, leadership through business, through image, inspiration. We all have a different topic, but we speak about leadership to help people be stronger individuals. And we all know that personal development and business development, leadership is personal development. You become a better leader once you are a better person, once you can walk the talk and show it. So on the side of the big picture of getting women on stage, and if we do it procedurally, get us on stage as the model, to be able to show the promoters and come up with a program, a system that'll help other women also be able to come up with a transformational program, know how to sell in the back end, so therefore promoters will bring more women on stage. I mean, it seems to me, it's a big project, yeah? But it seems rather simple. And it seems to me that we are uniquely qualified to get this done. And we can actually transform the whole seminar industry, because the seminar industry, it's based on money. So we have to learn how to make money. But the way we teach is so uniquely different than the way men teach. Even if we have masculine energy in the room, even if we teach masculine stuff as well. But to bring the feminine, bring more of the compassion, more of the support, more of the processes that we go through as women, the way we teach with a female language, to bring it on a big stage and have that transformation to men and women and sell. I mean, holy moly. I can just see Veronica, who wants to support women, after we get on the stage and prove it, that it can be done, going out there and telling, like she's doing now for MMIs, and for Quantum Leap programs. The only people who can train Quantum Leap are BSTA people today. So after we come up with the model for women and prove it, I can see her doing the same thing. That if a woman wants to be on stage, then they have to train in a certain way. And maybe we can be involved in, like Claudia was saying before, in that big vision, for the future. Maybe we could be involved in the training, and then we could be involved, and Blair could be involved, because it's all Blair stuff that we're teaching anyway. It's Blair who taught us. So we can really increase our community with this, if we can find out together what's blocking the women to do it. And so that's like I say, that's what I see as the big picture. And I think our mission in the content is a good mission to have, you know, a good mission to create leaders. Where I see the problem is that on the problem with opportunity, you know, I don't really see it as a problem. What happens is when we're coming together as a team, and the first thing that we did on this webinar was really to test the team, you know, to see if we can work together, to see what voice is coming up, to see who's listening to us. It was really pretty much an experiment on what working together means. And I think that we went through this experiment in a super great way to get out there. And we all did things that we're not used to doing. And people are interested. We're not yet necessarily, we don't know which people are interested, but just the idea that people are interested, that we can start to pull it together to be giving them content that maybe that we want to give them, and not necessarily what they want, so to speak. I mean, we can do what they want, but I would say I would go with the model that Stephanie raised in the last meeting and say, let's decide for us who is the avatar that works best, that wants leadership, that we want to work with, and start promoting to that. And then if we give Hannah is working on a program. She's really designing a program for us. Like I was saying, she's designing a program for us, working a little bit with Linda on it also. She worked a little bit with me on it as well. That takes all of our topics and brings them through like a timeline. Because we all have, you know, we all have relationship issues, and we all have little voice issues, and we all have fear issues. Through a timeline, you can show it in your lives, at each progression of your life stage. But I'm gonna let her give you the program. But once she has the big design of the program, presents it to us as a group, then we can from that pull out the content. So it's kind of like working from the big picture down. So the big picture is we want to get on stage. So we want to get on stage, we need to have a transformational program that will sell, right? Because people aren't going to buy if it's just an NAC. They need to have that emotion involved in it. So let's let her come up with a little bit of an idea of what the program is. And she's taken it, she based it on what Claudia had done in, you know, at the beginning. Claudia said, we all have this. She did this nice matrix of the topics we have. And then what Hannah did was that she's really amazing. She looked at all of our videos, all of them, and she started plugging in, you know, key phrases that each one is saying and seeing what is common, where are there common things, common lines. Pao said this and Claudia said this. Maybe they can do something together. I mean, she went through all of it. Who mentioned Blair? You should see this Excel spreadsheet. It's really fantastic to define what we want to talk about also. And she's making this program that each one of us will have a part in the program on the things that we say. So when you talk about brand, yeah, it's a brand. We're one team. But we don't have to be saying the same thing. We can still be adding our own content in the framework of our brand of ladies, women leading into the future. And maybe to Pao's comment, maybe we need to change the name Women Leading into the Future, because Women Leading into the Future is what we want to do. We want to be women leading into the future, but not necessarily someone reading that will think that we're talking only to women. And we're not talking only to women. So that might need to be clarified as well. But I think that we, as a mission goes, I think that the mission is the big picture of getting women on stage and letting us spearhead that getting women on stage. And by doing that, there's all sorts of little things and strategical things and tactical things we need to do, like doing the webinars. And then the webinar has procession that Claudia was talking about. It has the procession. So now that we did the webinars, now maybe we want to do a membership site, or maybe now we have 600 plus people that we have to be in communication with them. So all of that is a little bit more confusing because, you know, it's processional. It's things that happen out of a greater picture to form a team. And we need to deal with it. I'm not saying we don't, but I don't think we should be confused. I'm not saying we're confused, but we need to maybe separate between the tactical things that are a little bit messy or confusing because they're just happening, and the bigger picture. If we keep our eye on the bigger picture, that is this for a goal. The goal is not to have the webinar, And the goal is not to have a mailing list. The webinar and the mailing list came out of the bigger goal of to get women on stage. And that's my thought. You know, the management of the tactical stuff and the breaking down. You know, now we want to do more webinars to increase our audience and to get out there and to be able to show promoters what we can do. You know, one of the ideas about doing the initial webinar, which worked, by the way, was to have a calling card for promoters, and it worked before we even released the content. You know, Success Resources, thanks to Pal, was involved, was interested. So it's a calling card. But things came out of it, and I think that we need to take Claudia's advice and be patient. And if things aren't clear, to see what works for us and what doesn't work. What works, let's optimize it. What doesn't work, we can not do it. Like now, for example, we have a membership site. I've taken all the content from the conference and then plus some, and it's sitting there on Kartra, and it's just waiting because we need to get clarity, hold the context. I didn't want to add a new product in, a new asset, like Simona says, a new asset until we have clarity that everyone is on the mission and is willing to invest in the mission. Because now also, who said that at the time? Simona, you also said when we talked about the perk, was now that it's working, we've got to dedicate time. And now that it's working, we're going to get time, and we have to dedicate resources, money, and to make it happen. But we have to be clear that we as a team are willing to see the bigger picture, overcome the trials and errors of starting something new, be patient, but stay focused and invest on what needs to be invested in. And if it's processional, of course, we have to all agree on that, but all the processional things, I think they have to be taken as a second step. The big picture is to transform lives on stage. I think, that's my 2 cents.
So if we took that as an example, so if we took all that on board, the question for me would be, first of all, for instance, the Facebook group. In that context, what then is the purpose of the Facebook group? What is the purpose of the Facebook group? What is the first purpose of the Facebook page? What is the purpose of the membership site? You see, so yes, we can have a look at, we can keep our eye on the big picture, but the big picture is not helping in terms of what's specific, where we're going specifically next. So the three, like I said, the three of us are working on the Facebook group. That doesn't help me in terms of being on stage, us, and getting women on stage doesn't help me as far as the Facebook group is concerned, because the people in the Facebook group are not necessarily the people who want to be on stage. So that's where bits of confusion, and I take on board that we've done what we've done, and we're learning as we're going along. But this is a question that sort of broad view raises for everything that we do. So if that is our overarching, and we do to a certain extent, we need to work back and say, so if that's what we want, what do we need to do to be able to get there? And then what's the step behind that? And 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 then the Facebook group, how does that fit into that? And the membership site, how does all that fit into that? Because at the moment, to be quite honest, I don't really see what the point is of having a membership site, because I don't get where it fits in what we're doing now. The Facebook group, I can see if we're clear about what it's supposed to be, I think it could work quite well. But that's what you've just said has raised in my mind, and I think that is sort of the issue, really, just being a bit more specific than the broad overarching.
Excellent point, Tywell. Excellent point, because I think there is a lack of clarity in it, and I think there also will continue to be a lack of clarity. My opinion, this is just my opinion.
I know, but in the meantime, we have people in the
I want to tell you what I think.
Just one moment. And for instance, Juliana actually, so she has taken an impression that this group is about leadership. So she's seen things that we've posted in the group and specifically asked a question around leadership. Now the survey will help us a bit more around that, but do you see what I mean, is that we'll start losing people if we're too wishy-washy at this stage. So we need to be a lot clearer. So yeah.
Absolutely. I think clarity is important, but I don't think the clarity comes like this also. We have to build the clarity. And I'm thinking, yeah, if we build backwards, okay, the idea is to get on stage. Now, Hannah is working on a program that allows us all to speak our own voices that's transformational. We can take that, once we know what that program is, we can manage the Facebook page until then we get the program, we can see how she designed it. We all give our input to optimize it, to make it better fit all of our needs. And then from there, we can take pieces, and that's what we want to discuss. Now, it doesn't matter for us who stays in the group and who doesn't stay in the group. If people leave the group because it doesn't speak their language anymore, it's also okay, as long as we know what language we're speaking. And two, these things primarily, you know, the Facebook group and the member, well, I'll put the membership on the site on the second, but the emailing and the Facebook group and the Facebook page, they all come from a point of we need to create some sort of following marketing wise in order to go to the promoters, to say that people are interested in what we have to say, so we have proof. So you have one side social proof, and we can show them numbers. It's purely for marketing, purely for marketing. I don't think that many people get, and that's my opinion, go through transformations in Facebook.
No, and it's not, I get what you're saying, but even so, we need to have, if there's no point saying that we have this following in Facebook if they're not going to buy tickets to come and watch us on stage. If you see what I'm, so the Facebook group has got to add something that is going to make people want to go follow us from Facebook to, and given that Facebook is international, so to want to buy a ticket and fly to come and see us wherever. So it's not just about numbers. It is about what it is that we're delivering with that. So we do.
Well, we won't get to the numbers. We can't if we're not delivering something that's interesting for people. I mean,
it's Facebook. Well, because Facebook, you can have the numbers. I mean, we had this conversation before. We can have the numbers, and those numbers don't necessarily mean anything. They could be on the group, and so it is just about saying that yes, it's okay to be not so clear, but we can't keep saying that, and we keep saying that it's okay not to be clear. We have to at some point start being clear and saying, right, this is what we're going to be doing for now. This is what we're going to do until such time as we know what the program is, for instance. And if you want the Facebook, the three of us in the Facebook group say, well, based on this conversation today, this is what we think that the Facebook group should be focusing on for now, then we can do that. But I think that we need to have some sort of clarity, some sort of
1 second, Annie.
Context.
Okay, 1 second, Annie. Taiwo, I think, yeah, that creating leaders in home, in the community, and in business is the mission for the content, not for the mission for our team, but for when we talk about content in our group, the one content, the one language that we're speaking is what we made at the beginning that Karen also mentioned earlier today. It says, help people be leaders in their own life, inspirations at home, at work, and in their community. That's the message.
Can I just ask a question? Does everybody on this call agree with that? I think that's just one of the things that we should just say. Does everyone agree with that?
That's what we made at the beginning of the
No, but that's what I'm just saying, is that that's what I'm saying, is that let's just be clear. No, that's what I'm just saying. Let's just be clear that everyone's in agreement with that. Is everyone in agreement with that?
Okay.
And do you agree with that?
Who does not agree? You do not agree, Stephanie? Or are you frozen? Who does agree?
Stephanie agrees.
Stephanie agrees, but I don't see all hands up. So the mission is what we decided at the beginning of working together in May. And then after we had all the discussions about who are we talking to, and we decided we are women talking to everybody. So the mission is help people be leaders in their own life, inspirations at home, at work, and in their communities. I'm going to copy it here.
Okay.
See?
And saying that, then we need to be all clear, because if we are, our topic is leadership, saying like that, so we ask for every one of you guys, when you talk with your topic, but
Leadership.
thinking of mind leadership, like energy, okay? Because Pau is this, no, Mindy is, you are this week, okay? This week is how the money or how freedom, financial freedom.
I'm talking about working hard. This concept of working hard. That is
or Pau, no? How energetical, or how the chakras can giving you towards to leadership. Or then Annie talking about relationship, how relationship can give you a leadership as a man or as a woman or as a relationship. I don't know.
But it could be how to be a leader in your relationship as well.
Relationship. Yeah.
So we need to be clear, everyone, once again, that any topic that you are just talking towards leadership. Good? Yeah?
Excellent. I like it.
Simona.
Maybe it's just my confusion, but from what you said before, Mindy, going back to the mission, which is clear, that's what I reported also inside, we can go deeper and be more specific eventually. It doesn't really, to me, if we talk about stage, that's where it goes for me in a sort of not clarity, because maybe some leaders don't want to be on stage. So that's where my personal not matching, really, not seeing how it matches in between when we talk about stage. So in creating a system to go on stage and sell from stage, because that's what we do, with this one, that's where I maybe get in a little bit of, not clarity, because not everybody maybe wants to be on stage. They might be leading in the communities, in schools, and maybe talking from their own stage, which can be a schoolroom, could be whatever, but not necessarily the stage. So what do we mean by stage? Is it a success resources stage? So that's where I need more understanding.
Okay. 1 second. We're talking about two separate things.
Yeah,
we as a team want to create a system to help women get on stage. That's what we're doing. That's our big picture. The content that we are talking is to help anybody be a leader in their life, whatever leadership means to them.
So it's on a longer term to be
it's for them to take it into the stage,
because the people you address is going to be different, because the people going on stage could be just a portion of this one. Maybe someone will.
I don't think we need to talk about a stage at all.
No.
Let's talk about leadership and however they want leadership in their own life. Maybe a mother wants to be more assertive towards her children. That's leadership.
Yeah.
No, I get the leadership one. There's no problem. It was the stage one which confuses me a little bit, because as I was saying, this one doesn't mean necessarily that people leading will go on stage. That was where I was asking.
You have clarity now?
Yeah, that it's two different things which are not really, it's more, still need to be, the content is going to be for these people.
Right.
That's what I get.
Okay, good. Pao, you wanted to address that?
Okay, so just clarify, because I actually I'm not very active. It's in a community which is very similar to what we are doing. It's called Project Positive Change, okay? It's from America. So basically, they make a platform. They gather all the entrepreneurs who have, it could be spiritual healers or finance, you gather everybody which want to make a positive change. So their message, their mission is Project Positive Change. So they have their page, they have their Facebook groups. So there are two parts. One is internal, one is external. So the internal part is they have their group for all the people who join Project Positive Change, who are the speakers, who are the teachers. So the main goal is like what Mindy said, is they create a collective effort, make the voice bigger. So they have this pathway to market everybody who joined Project Positive Change. That's one of the goals that is internal. So there's the external, which is there's a page and a group, is the Project Positive Change leaders and speakers who face their audiences. So in that group, they only give content. Let's say it's like what we do. Like, let's say now this week I'm giving content, and next week another teacher is giving content. So that's what I understand now better is what we are doing right now is we do keep our personal avatar and our message. And now we are getting together to make ourselves bigger, then we can get on stage and stuff. So it means it doesn't have to be very unity and to have one avatar. So that's different from what I'm understanding. So now I'm more understanding if this is like a Project Positive Change, then I understand what we are doing.
Excellent.
Yeah, because one thing is us, that we want to be on stage leading, but the other is how we can change people's life. So it's empower them. That is completely different. Yeah.
Excellent. So we're all on board now. We have a big mission to get on stage, and the content, the mission of our content, the language we're speaking is about leadership. Good. Now the avatar, we'll come up with that. You guys are doing the survey so we can make it more exact. When we get the results from the survey, we can then decide who we want and who we got and see if there's a difference in what we want to do with that. And the values, we'll start working on the values in the next meeting. And maybe after that, Simona will start working on a PERT chart to get it, to make a visual, to work on steps going backwards. Taiwo.
So when we're talking about the kind of the broader, more internal mission, you talked about promoters, and I think Ronnie mentioned it, this whole thing about being able to sell from the stage. And while there's power in numbers, etc., etc., at the end of the day, the promoters are going to be looking at who is selling the most. And so there has to be, well, not has to be, but I'm wondering whether we need to think about for ourselves as a group how we support each other to gain the confidence to be able to go on stage. Because just because I think most of us have done making the stage, but just because, oh, sorry, something's happened to my...
Claudia, is sharing your screen?
Oh, I see. Right, okay, right in the middle. So hold on, just sorry, it's just throwing me a bit. I've lost you guys. There we are. So some people will already be doing some of that. So I know Simona does. I think Claudia might do some of that. I don't know how much Pau does, and I've done a little bit, but not very much on it. But we need to start working towards, by the time Hannah has created and we've developed this program and the promoters have taken us, that we are actually going to be able to get there and sell. And so I'm not saying we have to answer it now, but we need to think about what it is we're going to do, and whether it is that we make a commitment, because we had said that we were looking to do a live event in Q1. Maybe it is that we make a commitment that each and every one of us does a live event and tries to sell something on individually in that, and then we can share the advertising, because we're all around the world, so we can share the advertising amongst ourselves or support each other to do that, but get ourselves ready to deliver that, because we can then be, or else we may be in the danger of focusing on the content and not on the overall.
Yeah, absolutely, Taiwo. I think that's really important. I think we can do that. We are going to have to, if wherever we get on stage, and we're going to get on stage, wherever we do it, we are going to have to be so prepared on that bookstore, like so prepared, kick ass, that we've worked it and done it, no little voices, lots of processing, practice, because it's all based on the books, on the bookstore, not on the content. I mean, the content has to be transformational, because then the sale is easier. And that's what we want to do anyway. We want to change lives. But we know that the obstacle now to changing more lives is actually proving that we can sell in the back end.
Yes.
So thanks for that point. I think that's a great,
because we have
great
actually
idea.
2 avatars. We have the people that we serve and the promoters. So
There's
we've
3
got
people
2
we're
different,
selling.
yeah. So yeah. Anyway.
Absolutely. Thank you. Claudia, you wanted to address that? And then we're going to have to finish up, guys. It's already an hour and a half.
Just to share with you guys what Blair asked us, and more the people that we are in level 2s and everything talking to him, okay? He said that please, he expects and he wants that every one of us, we have been doing stage presentations, practicing and processing. And actually he asked us that between us, call it, or between us, support it, or between us, do something to everyone, because he says, I expect that all of you has high energy, do it perfect, every one of you. And everything was because in PSP, we are doing again the PSP, that if you don't know, PSP is train the trainer, but in online right now, okay? And I asked him, what we can do if all of us, we go to the stage, okay, at the same time, who will present and how, because obviously some people have different energy. And he's like, no, everybody needs to have the same energy, everybody needs to do the end the rights, just the first one, do the presentation of content of the, you know, the first things. Like raise your hand and energy and la 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 la. But he says every one of you needs to have the same level, the same preparation, so you will not be on the stage. So I just pass it to you guys because it's good point, Taiwo. I can suggest what I have been doing presentations, and I can share you later on or in the group. I will post a list of things you can do to do presentations every week, okay? And this will give you a lot of, because this is like a pilot, an airplane. More hours you do on air, better captain or better pilot you will be. It's the same in a stage. More hours you are in front of the stage is better for you, okay? Just passing that message.
Excellent. Thank you, Claudia. And I just want to add to that, I also spoke with Blair, and I know that Hannah is now designing a program, but Blair would be happy to design a program for us. So yeah, we've got a lot of support from him. Again, this isn't BSTA, and he's not involved in anything we're doing, and we're not even reporting back to him. Just was having a conversation with him, and he's really excited about it, and he'd be happy. If that's the ticket, just one second, Simone, if we understand, after I told him what I had learned, he said, yeah, absolutely, that's it. You know, after he understood also that it's the back end, and after I understood it, he said we can work out a program easy and do the sale. Simona.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that it's true that we do not, we are not in BSTA, which is our group, but for him, we represent BSTA. We have, I mean, we are BSTA anyway. So that's why he wants everybody to stick anyway to the high energy, as Claudia was saying, because that's the brand of BSTA. That's something he really said. Now, if you are all BSTA, you all have to have a high energy because you are representing BSTA anyway. I mean, so it's great. We have a group, but keep this in mind. And this is also why he's supporting us, because we are part of BSTA and he's willing to give us the best. So I just wanted to add this.
Thank you both for putting that in, because it is, we are BSTA, and that's even one of our criteria we wrote when we started, be at least level 1 certified and have previous experience in front of the room. So those 2 things are important, that we know the drill, so to speak, and that we have experience, but we need more experience. And we need, when we get to that first program, we need to, on a dime, you know everything tip top, practice with high energy and all the tools that we learned. So, whew, it was a good call today. I think we clarified a lot of things. And there's still a lot of things we need to work on. But thank you all. Let's close up by what you feel like saying. And Yeah, let's close off of what you feel like saying. Who wants to start? Annie.
Thank you for the call. It was a pretty good call. I think there's still a lot that I think we need to discuss, especially about the energy, but I gotta go. So yeah, but what Claudia just said, we need to talk about that because I have my own point of view on that. So that's what I feel like saying. Simona, what do you feel like saying?
Thank you, Annie. Yeah, it was a good call. It helped me also to clear personally my mind, my thoughts, and just it's going to unwrap some other things, and happy for that. And looking forward to do the next call on the values, because it's going to open up some more for us and create a better connection also. So thank you for the call, ladies. That's what I feel like saying. And Stephanie, what do you feel like saying?
Thanks, Mona. I feel like saying it's good to get clarity. It's the first trait of any high-performing team. Claudia, what do you feel like saying?
Well, I say that hopefully now for everybody it's more clear. So if you still not have clarity, reach out again, because I mean, the best is that we have, all of us, we have clarity, and all of us, we are okay, and then we can work together, because without clarity, then this will not moving, okay? So I just say that I'm happy, and that's it. Taiwo, what do you feel like saying?
Thanks, Claudia. I feel like saying, I feel like this is the first meeting that I've had the sense that we're on the same page. I mean, the only thing was that I wasn't clear about Annie when we were asking the question. I wasn't clear about Annie's position on it, but for the rest of it, I just felt like we're on the same page. And so it feels like we're almost like we're starting again in a funny sort of way. We're not starting, but we're starting the next chapter clean. We've all turned over the page and we're all on the same page. So that for me feels really, really good. The only thing that only final thing that I just wanted to say was that the other good thing about us all being very clear about where we're going is that we can also be very clear about whether or not we want to continue down that road. And I think that when there's vagueness, then it's very difficult to make decisions about what you want to do. But if at the end of the day that clarity isn't the energy that you want or isn't the space that we want, then at least we know that we're making a decision based on something clear. So that's what I feel like saying. Thank you very much. I feel a lot better now, as in my cold. Pal, what do you feel like saying?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like unavoidable, as we all have like different brain, different mind, and we all come to work together, and we need these hours to get into a consensus, to get into a clarity. I think that's how our team operate. But I just want to say one thing, that the main key thing to reach clarity is everybody to not withholding anything. If you think anything, then might not feel comfortable to share it or to ask. I think just at the biggest point is the vulnerability, to just speak it out, and then we can all together to go to the same directions. That's what I feel like saying. Minnie, what do you feel like saying?
Yes, thank you, Pal. I feel like saying that I think it was a really important call and a good call. There is diversity, but there's a little bit more clarity as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the next steps are. We've got a clear direction and a lot of things to do. And I'm really happy to be part of this team, that we all do speak the same language and do have, if not the same values, at least similar values and same roles, or at least similar roles of working together, because that's what's going to give us the strength to go through unclear places and become clear, So that's what I feel like saying. So thank you all. And we'll talk again in 2 weeks. I'm looking forward to seeing what Annie and Simona bring to the table with values. Very, very important. So thank you very much. And for the you people who are on Teams, and Taiwo, we also didn't get a chance to talk about what you had done, the findings that you had found. But anyone's on Teams, you can use the virtual space to explain your opinions, what's going on, if you're improving something, optimizing something, make a video, write a note, and share it with the rest of us. Okay? Good. Thank you. Bye. Good night. Good day. Good
Bye.
evening.